It's crazy because like March 9th, my world looked like this is going to be the best year I've ever had.
I got a lot of people.
I heard from a theater in London that they wanted to co-produce my one-man show. So I was going to Budapest for the first time. So I was going to do my workshop and one-man show in Budapest, Frankfurt, Strasbourg, London, and then Bangkok. And then March 10th, everything went to shit.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Michael here with the Uncommons. In today's Uncommon Convo, we're hanging out with one of our best friends, internationally renowned acting instructor, Anthony Montes. He's cultivated an international community of artists, performers, and writers by teaching his Montes Method in over 15 countries around the world. He founded the Artist Theater Group in 1987, and by producing plays with his students, the Artist Theater Group has showcased over 70 plays, which most of them are original works of art developed within those classes. He's currently performing in his amazing one-man show, Out of the Dark and Into the Light, which was not only written, directed, and starred in by him, but also lived by him.
Can I get another drink, please?
It's already found huge success in Los Angeles at the James Franco Studio 4 Theater, as well as internationally in Frankfurt, and was scheduled for a UK and European tour just before the coronavirus took the world by storm and put everything on hold. Today, we're talking to him about how COVID-19 has affected his business, his community, but more, how he's found an opportunity and a way of expanding that community by bringing his students closer together in a time where we're all forced to be far apart. Welcome to the Uncommons.
There he is.
He's on the move.
We got a scene change.
We got too close to him. Social distancing.
I got to sit on top of my modem.
Someone's got to get closer to that.
Is that light? Should I close that in the back, Michael? Is that light bothering you?
We should tell him to try it a little bit more open. Just keep going back and forth. Can we try just
open?
Kind of crack it open?
Anthony, he knows better.
Got it.
One open, one closed.
There you go. Let's see what we got here. If you could just close that blind. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's like having a Costello routine.
Wait, Anthony,
I know, right?
Anthony, can we put the lamp on the other side of the room?
You just want me to...
Can we swap that poster with the Crybabies poster?
How do you say go fuck yourself in?
Yeah, we all stepped into an episode of Black Mirror. We changed it out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to play no more. All I found out through quarantine is I need a lot of attention. I thought I just liked acting and liked teaching, and I've realized a lot of things about myself. I need it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I find I'm not getting enough attention from the teaching and the acting, so that's why I'm breaking out the dance.
And you're classically trained in dance, right?
Well, that's what I tell myself. I mean, it's really a unique period we're going through. I mean, I've never seen anything in my lifetime where the whole world is experiencing something at the same time. So it's, and that's not to take away. I mean, I've been fortunate because I still have my job and I have my son down here. So it'd be a whole different experience for me if I was alone. I'd be dancing twice a day for more attention. You know, when I first got the idea, I thought it was a fun idea. And I said, hey, Matthew, I got an idea. Why don't we do this? We'll just be sitting at a table, music will come on, and we'll just we just start dancing like we don't even know the camera's there. And he goes, yeah, Dad, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So he went, took a shower, and then I did it by myself. And I thought, well, maybe that'll sell him on it. Right? I said, well, look how cool this is. And he goes, yeah, no, I really don't think so. It's been a lot of fun doing these Zoom classes, though. I mean, it has been a way of connecting all these different countries and all of my students from all over the world. So it's really cool to just, in this world that has become so isolated, you know, being able to bring the world together. And we are all speaking the same language. And it's really cool because we're all going, well, I started off the class seeing how everybody is, and we're all going through the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a little stricter here. I'm seeing like in Bangkok, it's getting a little bit looser. A student in Moscow, they can only leave like once a week, and then they got to stay in their apartments. Now they're loosening it. They can get out and get a little exercise.
So I was going to ask, how is that format? Because I know it's a big change. And when I was in your class physically before, you start every class with repetition.
And I do that with this too.
Right. And that's one of my favorite things to do to warm up is to do repetition. How does that work, or how do you adjust that for this new format?
Well, I'll show you.
I'll show you.
So you and I can do it right now.
Oh, okay. Being put on a spot. All right.
Uh-huh.
All right. So you don't ask questions. It's all
Yeah.
about working off the other person's behavior.
Yep.
Right? You don't ask questions. Always speaking the truth. So right now you're thinking about it.
Wait, what am I thinking about?
Those are you're not ask questions.
I know. I'm messing with you. Don't ask questions. First thing you do is ask a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just wanted to do that.
Yeah. So you're waiting for me.
I'm waiting for you.
You're not waiting now.
I'm not waiting now.
You're not waiting now.
I'm not waiting now.
You're not waiting now.
I'm not waiting now.
You said that different.
I did say that different.
You did say that different.
I did say that different.
You did say that different.
I did say that different.
You want to change it.
I want to change it.
You thought that was fun.
I thought that was funny.
You thought that was fun.
I thought that was funny.
You're settling in.
I'm settling in.
You're settling in.
I'm settling in.
You're settling in.
I'm settling in.
You're settled.
I'm settled.
So that's how.
That's how.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of.
And scene.
I just keep going. Everything.
It's teaching us to work within that frame.
But
too.
it's teaching us to work within that frame too. Just,
Yeah, I don't like
Oh
not being
boy,
in
oh boy.
control because I can always
Right.
just use him.
So for me on that end, it felt good because it felt good to get back into that repetition with you. For me, it's hard because I'm looking into a camera. I'm not looking at you. Maybe if I did my webcam and I could see.
Well, you don't have to. Yeah, because I'm just looking at you.
Yeah.
You know?
So Anthony, when you do this and there's a multitude of students in the class, how is something like this ran? Are they all just doing repetition with you?
No. I have them each do it twice, right? So say Nick did it with me, then I'd say, okay, Nick do it with Cody, and then they would do it, and they'd say, okay, Cody, now do it with Michael. So they each get a couple of times doing it.
Got it.
And what's nice with Zoom too, I can hide participants, so it's just those two. We're all saying it, but they're not being distracted by us.
I can see a lot of potential in that now. That actually clears things up quite a bit, is being able to, you basically have a stage and you can bring people onto that stage with Zoom, right?
Yeah, but for the actor, it helps them buy into that reality, right? You're going to be working with green screen anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That was the other thing I really thought was kind of cool about this, is you're actually working with a camera. I feel like those that are shy in front of a camera and in front of people on stage, this may be a really good entry for them into the arts, by being able to be in front of a camera and know that they're broadcasting and they're being seen by these other people, but also you're not on stage in front of these 20 students or whatever. You're in the comfort of your own home. So a lot of those inhibitions maybe, can be combated through this type of experience, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It does give you a bit of anonymity, but then ultimately you have to be in front of people. But you can start, you can start learning how to break down a script, make strong choices, working on scenes, working on monologues. There's exercises that I use in my classes that I can use in this. Even the activities, Nick, I have them do. I'll have somebody, maybe turn off their camera and then knock, right? But sometimes I adjust it. So I say, okay, I don't want you to imagine that you're in the same room. This is the technology we have. You're just calling them on Skype. You're calling them through Zoom.
Okay.
So you're knocking there and they're answering, and we're not denying what this is.
Yeah. And you can use that to your advantage, or you can use that as another tool, another form of doing it. That's really interesting. Another Anthony's techniques is he sets up scenes, and he'll basically, when we did it in theater or in plays or in class physically, he would take one person outside the room and tell them the story, their backstory and what their goal is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would go to the other person, their scene partner, on the other side of the room in another area, and tell them the same story, but they have a different goal. So they all know the backstory, but they have different goals, and usually those goals contradict each other or cause some sort of conflict or yeah, exactly. And so then you just start the scene only knowing your goal, and it's so interesting, and you get a lot from that. So that's the way his teaching is phenomenal.
Well, what's cool about this, because I've adjusted everything I do now to this format, and now the whole class can hear both sides of it. So it's interesting for them.
Well, that's really interesting to know.
They know what I've told them together, and then I say, okay, Nick, take off your headphones so you're not hearing what I'm saying, and then I'll tell Cody what he needs to know. I say, Cody, take off yours so you can hear. And then it still has that wonderful dynamic. Plus,
the audience is in the know,
I like that more, because I remember in class sometimes after the scene would be over, there'd be like a really intense, interesting scene, and then you would turn around to the class and explain to them, I told this person this and I told that person that, and everybody would be like, oh, it was an aha moment. So it's really cool if they're in on it from the go.
Right.
That's
and
cool.
even when they're working on scenes too, in the beginning, in the rehearsal process, right? I still have them improvising it, and sometimes I'll set it up as a relationship, okay? But I'll tell them something that maybe is not in the script, so they can't anticipate. And they're forced to work unanticipated moment off the other person.
Moment.
Yeah. So there's plenty. I mean, there are students, in the college, I get a lot of kids that are right out of high school. So for some, if you have ADHD, it might be really difficult to sit for a long period of time. Yeah. So, but I could take that into consideration, and I could say, okay, I can just turn off your camera, do what you need to do for yourself. You can still be listening and do what you got to do, and then come back on when you're ready.
It's a little less interruptive in class.
Yeah. And even like if somebody comes in late, or, right now, I hate late.
Anthony hates people that are late.
Not a good thing.
He's a very punctual person.
Yeah. I'm always early. Always.
He said, which stuck with me for the longest time, still to this day, was being early is on time, being late is, hold on, I'm going to speed this up.
You already did.
I already screwed up, yeah.
That's because you're running late.
A long time until
Oh shoot! Being early is on time. Being on time is late, and being late is unacceptable.
Yeah. And since I started teaching in '87, right, my group, the Artist Theater Group, and I've had it really a variation of that going till today. I've never been late for a class, and I've never missed a class. The 9 years I taught at the New York Film Academy, I never was late, never missed a class. I taught for a lot of people, never late, never missed. 5 years in the Academy of Art, never late, never missed. Not that I've never been sick, Now, going into this, I had subscribed to what Stella Adler said, actors don't get sick. So I took it to heart. She said that. But it was too precious. I mean, I don't want to miss any of it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, even if you're the most successful actor out there, you're never going to realize all the roles you want to in this lifetime. It's impossible. So being in a class, even like, I have like more professional classes where actors who are working already, well, they get to work on things that maybe they wouldn't be cast in, It's no different than going to the gym. And and that's why the actor studio was set up in the first place. So these more famous actors would have a place to work out without a million eyes looking at them, and they can do what they love.
With the Artist Theater Group, how did that all start?
When I came out here, I literally, from New York, thought I was going to be the next Pacino. I mean, I was like, I'm here. Here I am.
Where do I sign up?
But there was, I just could not get a break. I couldn't get, I'd see friends who maybe didn't work as hard, didn't love it as much, getting work, and I could not get arrested. So I started it because I love acting and I wanted a place to act and to ensure that I would be able to act every week. So
you kind of built it out of necessity.
Yeah. And I was never that guy, I wanted to join somebody else's group, I didn't want to be the guy doing all that stuff. And I'm still that guy as putting my classes together and doing all those things. I mean, I have other friends who just chalk it off and say, well, I can't do that. That's not me. I can't do that. Well, my need to act was more important, and I had to find a way to make it happen. And I couldn't count on getting an agent or that way of getting work, and then from that I started producing plays, directing plays, acting in plays, and then from that I started writing plays, putting up plays. So I've never not been doing it since I began.
When did you find yourself that you knew enough about a subject to where you felt comfortable teaching it? How did that transition happen from practitioner to instructor?
At first, reluctantly, because I had formed this group and I set it up like the actor studio. So I didn't set it up that I was the teacher. I set it up that I moderated it, meaning I would, take attendance and see who's doing what, and then we would all discuss it. And not long after that, it would be, well, I saw this, and it's just like, all right. So one of my friends that was in the class said, Tony, this isn't working. Everybody respects you. You should just lead it. You should be the teacher. You should teach it. I said, I'm not going to be the teacher. And I thought, is she telling me about a good actor? So that's why she said I should be the teacher. Because I believed what Woody Allen had said, those who do, and those who can't do, teach, and those who can't do anything, teach Jim. So I thought she was right that it needed one focal point. And
one leader, yeah.
Yeah, but I had only defined myself as an actor for so many years, and I only saw myself as an actor. And I saw that I was putting these limitations on myself. And then about 2 years into it, I realized, we're capable of wearing more than one hat. I'm not just an actor. Okay, I'm a teacher, and then a writer, and then even more importantly, a dad. So I don't think we should put those limitations on ourselves. And then I had my group doing it for themselves. I had them writing and creating their own opportunities. So that's been a big part of what I do as well. And I was just telling Matthew the other day, I hope you really find something that you love, because what I'm doing, I would do for free, and I have done it for free. I've never taken, if there was someone who couldn't pay for a month or was really in hard times, I just say, well, just keep coming to class. That don't let that be an issue. And then I don't give them a bill at the end. It's okay, you owe me for the last 4 months.
Would you like to make payments on these? Or?
Yeah.
By the way,
all right, I gotta take your firstborn. And then I volunteered, and I worked with at-risk kids, and I worked in juvenile hall. And while there, I had developed some exercises with these kids, because especially in juvenile hall, I thought, okay, why are they here? They must be getting out of something, because nobody seems interested at all. And they're all sitting back, and I got a tattoo with the skull, and then that was kind of cool, they thought, and my New York accent was kind of cool to sound like, could have been from a tough place.
You have an accent?
I don't think so.
Wait, what?
I don't think so. And then I come up with some exercise that really made them get in touch with their feelings. And it really bonded them and me with them and them with each other. It was really cool. I'm at a point in my life where I'm just, maybe for a long time, I didn't realize it for a long time, but I definitely have realized it for the last, I don't know, since Matthew's been born, I think. That I'm just attracting really talented people to me, and really good people. I mean, you can pop into any of my classes, and there's not a student in there that has an ego. And I've been to enough acting classes. That's not always the case, So yeah, it's great. And most people who take the class, or any acting class, aren't going to pursue this after a few years when they find out how difficult it is. There's only a certain number that's really going to see it as their vocation, and then that may stop because they want other things in their life. But the skills that they're learning, they're going to be able to take into real life. They'll be able to listen better. They'll be able to communicate better. communicate.
Communicate.
Communicating.
There's a new word. Word of the day, communicate.
I said that on purpose. 5 years ago, I started, maybe 5.5 years ago, I was working at the New York Film Academy, and they encourage you to work in the field that you're teaching. So I was teaching acting. So I was getting ready to do my feature film, The Last Train. Asked to take a semester off. So then I thought, okay, now what am I going to do? The film's going to be 14 days, and there's no money coming in. Semester's 4 months. LA's saturated with teachers. Where in the world would I want to go? So I thought, okay, maybe there's a Rome Film Academy. There wasn't. Maybe a Madrid Film Academy. There wasn't. Maybe Paris Film Academy. There was. And the woman who ran it was in Santa Monica at the time and was in California because she was looking to take a teacher to Paris.
Wow.
So she came and sat in my class, and then she stopped looking for other teachers, and I was going to be it. And then I called Raphael, who lived in Berlin. And I said, hey, I'm going to be coming and doing a class in Paris. If you could set up a workshop for me in Berlin, I'll come there first. So he did. And there were 8 students in that class. And one turned out to be a famous singer from Stockholm. So at the end of the workshop, I mean, Larry Moss and Ivana Chubbuck were in Berlin at the same time doing workshops. I said, you got all these famous teachers. Why did you come to me? He said, I was in my yoga class and I was talking about taking some acting classes. My yoga teacher said, oh, my favorite acting teacher is doing a class in Berlin. So then she came, and then she set up workshops for me to go to Stockholm. And then it snowballed after that.
So that story kind of makes me think of a concept a little bit, because when you first came to Los Angeles, it was so hard to catch a break. Do you think that is about catching a break for those series of events to happen, or do you find that to be, right place, right time, or just, where do you fall on that spectrum of, I just haven't caught a break, or, I need a break, or just show up every single day,
I think we all will get our opportunity if you stick with it. Mm-hmm. It may not be in the time frame that you thought it was going to be in. It surely wasn't that for me. And if I look back on my life when I was younger, if I would have gotten it, I wouldn't be here now. Because I had too many demons. I had bad self-esteem, so I definitely wouldn't have thought I deserved it. I do think I deserve it now. I bet he was listening. I didn't think I deserved it back then. And my case, it's always been a matter of turning lemons into lemonade. Things would just, because the other part of that story is when I came back, the New York Film Academy didn't take me back. They fired me. They said, oh, we didn't know you were coming back. And they just totally lied about it. I put it out on Facebook what had happened. And then from teaching there, I had students all over the world. So they had seen now what had happened. They saw now I taught in Paris and Berlin. And I'd get calls, hey, would you be interested in coming to Johannesburg? I said, well, if you set it up, I'll come. So, but when I was younger and things went wrong, I would always take a bad situation and make it worse. I was the victim. Why is everything happening to me? And I would just take a bad situation and make it worse.
Yeah.
And really, Matthew was a real turning point for me because I couldn't behave in a certain way anymore. And I had to get my shit together. And I think taking the focus off of me and putting it on someone else, he saved me from myself, I think. And he helped me refocus in a way that there's no saying I can't, there's no saying die. You always got to figure it out. So I think that's what it was. Is every once in a while I feel like, all right, now I'm starting to get the hang of the whole thing that's going on in the universe. I get it. And then as soon as you think you get it a little bit, they say, okay, you get a little cocky now. Let me fuck with you a little bit more.
Right.
Let me knock you down a few pegs.
Yeah. Let me see how you're going to deal with this.
I'm gonna mess with your communication skills a little bit.
Yeah. I know how to communicate.
You're turning, lemons into lemonade, and it seems like that's something that you've done here recently with the whole quarantine, the lockdown situation. It's affected, especially a position like yours and Cody's, where you're so dependent on interacting with your students. Mm-hmm. But it looks like you found opportunity in these events to continue to drive forward and stuff. Tell us about what you're doing right now and how you're how you've kind of pivoted a little bit.
Well, I mean, again, it came out of necessity, and I had been thinking, how can I connect everybody? So I wanted to do something like this. I didn't know how to do something like this, and teaching at the other school and doing a free workshop too. And going over my notes gave me, I reformatted everything to say, okay, how can I work it with this? And that's from doing a lot of theater too, because a lack of money makes you be creative in different ways, right? It makes you have to figure something else out.
Yeah.
Right? It's not an excuse to not do your art.
Yeah.
Right? It's if I don't, I think people talk themselves out of it, and they say, well, I'm not going to have enough money to do a run. Then do it for one day. Don't let that be the excuse, and then keep building on that. So that's what I've done. And looking at this, I have other ideas too. I had written a screenplay years ago, again, to try to create my own opportunity. I was tired of being truck driver number 2. I thought I deserved something more. So I wrote this screenplay called The Cleaners. And at that time, cigar lounges became a big deal, and Beverly Hills was a really nice one. And then they were doing, Filmmaker Magazine was sponsoring screenplay readings, and they would invite the development heads to it. So I'm thinking this could be a good format for it as well. Mm-hmm. Work it with my actors, one of my screenplays, so it's not so dry, so we're putting something underneath it. You can have 100 participants come, and it gives me a chance too, just to hear it. And maybe, I'm sure there's investors out there, and I'm sure they must be starving for content right now, right? And also you got things like Quibi, so right?
Bringing it back.
Bring it back. Yeah. I didn't pay him to say that, guys.
Tell us about that, Michael.
What do you think about Quibi, Michael?
It just seems like a lot of things are going to be lost, but a lot of things could come out of this.
I totally agree. I think at a great,
Absolutely.
When something like this happens, there's people who look at it as it'll never go back, and who are constantly looking back. And then there's the people who paved the way because they're constantly looking forward.
Nobody knows what's going to be the next thing that's going to catch on and catch somebody's eye.
It's going to be interesting to see how much new content comes out of this, and how much new writing, because all the people that write are sitting at home with time.
Yeah.
Writing. It's going to be really, I hope there's some good stuff that comes out of this.
And we're the storytellers, right? We're the ones that we're the recorders of history, right? The things that are going to come out. I mean, I wrote a piece when it first began that 2.5 months ago would make no sense. Right? Would make no sense.
Yeah.
It does now because, and in a bigger way, right? So we, it's going to be different in the beginning until I have a vaccine, I guess, going back. It won't go back the way it was for a while, but it will evolve into something else.
Yeah. You're involved in a lot of things. And what is the best way for someone who doesn't know who you are to get a hold of you, learn what you do? Where can they learn more about you?
Well, if they have questions, they can just email me at Montes Method, MONTES method @gmail.com. But if they want to see what I'm up to before, they can go to YouTube and type in Montes Method, and there's like 40 videos of my philosophy about acting, me talking about acting, some students talking about me, on Instagram at Montes Method, and I have a website, the Montes Method. So
MontesMethod.com.
.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
.com. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to sign up for a class or learn more about acting or taking one of Anthony's classes, just go to themontesmethod.com. You can check out his stuff on there, and there's also a contact form to contact him and sign up for one of his classes, as well as all his Instagram links and every link on there for YouTube.
Yeah, and they don't have to be just in the States. They could be anywhere in the world.
Yes. And I've been one of his students for at least 12 years, 13 years. And I'm going to join back up with these online classes now.
Yeah, and I think we started at New York Film Academy. You started teaching at New York Film Academy the same day I did. So we taught alongside each other. We've been with each other for a long time.
Wow.
I've always definitely looked at you like a mentor. I mean, when it comes to the craft, I still don't know anyone more on top of his game than you. So thank you so much for joining us here.
Yep.
And we can't wait to see what else you're doing.
Oh, it was a lot of fun communicating with you guys.
Did that guy just say communicate?
Communicate?
What is it?
Yeah, and there's somebody saying, "Yeah, I heard of that." I heard that.
Yeah, they come out better at communicating.
Those people that just like,
where do I sign up?
Oh yeah, totally communicate. Yeah. I know, man.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so they're out there communicating really well in their job.